Hello students! Okay, we're gonna be solving this question. Let's read. Which fraction n percent is equivalent to 0.24 or 24 hundredths? Great. So let's highlight important information. Remember, we're using the strategy of cubes. Which fraction? This is a math vocabulary. N percent. This is important. We want to know equivalent, which means the same as, and then we have a decimal, 0.24. Okay, so far we did highlight, which goes into underline. Now we're gonna box the question, and this is a short sentence. I like it. Which fraction n percent is equivalent, so it's the same as 0.24. Okay. So I notice here that I need to work with fraction, percents, and the question is given in decimal. Every time I see this type of questions, and then also by looking at the answer choices give me always clues on how do I have to work out my numbers. And I notice here that I have in my choices fractions and percents in all of them, A, B, C, and D. For this type of questions, I decide I'm gonna be using one strategy of making a chart and recording fraction, decimal, and percent. So I'm gonna be bringing my table. Okay, so this is my fraction, decimal, and percent table. And for decimal, I'm gonna be using this section in the middle. And so far, I know I have one value, 0.24. So I'm gonna write it down, 0.24. Now remember, getting fraction, decimal, and percent, it doesn't mean that we're gonna get a different value. It only means we're gonna rewrite it. In math, we can rewrite the same value. It's not gonna change, but we can write it in different ways. Just so we can know what we're doing, with this visual on the side, with this 100 grid, I'm gonna represent this decimal here. Now we're gonna remember something with decimals. I'm gonna write the decimal also here. This is 0.24, and I'm gonna keep it in the same color. This is something that we learned in elementary. The place value before the decimal point, we call that one ones. Great. The place value behind the point, the first one is the tenth or tenths. And then here we call this the hundredths. And if we have this decimal, what it means is that we have 2/10ths. And imagine that this number here is the number 1. Right? Very good. So how do we represent 1/10th with this figure? Okay, so we will have to do all of this, and so far that's 1/10. Oh, but this number says that it has 2. This one will be 2/10ths, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths, right? So do you notice here that this fraction, these 2 bars and this 4 hundredths represents 0.24? Awesome. Okay. But also, we can say that a decimal can represent a percent number. So for example, if I want to say I want to highlight the whole grid, what number do I represent in percent when I mean this same one whole grid? You're right, that will be 100%. Excellent. In that case, each little tiny square will represent 1%, because this is a 10 by 10 grid. So in total, we have 100 little squares. So this one here is saying that 0.24 in decimal is the same as 24%. And it is exactly the same number. Awesome. So I can see with my visual 2 different ways to get my number. Great. Now the last step that I have to do is to go to fraction. And I'm going to look at the grid and do the same thing. Okay, so when we write a fraction, what we do is we write the denominator first, right? And the denominator is the total pieces that we have. If we count all the little squares in here, how many do we have in total? 100. Yay! Because we have 10 rows and each row has 10 units. Great. Now, how many pieces are shaded in this hole? 24. Awesome. And I don't see in any of my answer choices having 24 over 100 as a fraction. And for fractionals, I'm using green. I'm just gonna color code. So you can track what we're doing here, guys. But we know that we can also simplify fractions, so we can rewrite them, right? Great. Just very quickly, for example, if we have, I like to do this example because it's one of the basics, and the fraction on the bottom is identical. And the one on the bottom, I broke it down into 4 equal pieces, so this one is 2/4. And the one on the top is broken down into 2 equal pieces. And I'm going to create a section that looks exactly the same as the one on top. But on this one, I made 1/2. Do you notice that they are the same? Yes. 2/4 is the same as 1/2. Can you see that, guys? Yeah, because they use the same space. Now, this fraction here is called simplest form because it has the smallest numbers. But in reality, this is the same size, right? And I'm just gonna write a little squiggle here. And this is extra explanation. It's not part of our problem. Explanation. Like that. Okay. So how do I go from this 2 to this one numerically? Yay, dividing by 2. And because we know it is one piece out of the 2, you see? And if I want to make sure that I get the exact value here, I divide by 2. So, summary, when we have a fraction and if we're gonna get the simplest form of the same fraction, we divide by the same number, numerator and denominator. Great. So right here we have 24 over 100. I'm going to put it on the side. 24 over 100. And I always like to start with easy numbers. So let's divide by 2. We divide by 2 on the numerator and divide by 2 in the denominator. So 24 divided by 2 is a 12. And 100 divided by 2, that's 50. Great. And this is our fraction. And many times I can keep going. So let's try one more time. I'm going to write it right here. And here I'm going to write it. So now I have 12 over 50. And I want to divide by 2 on numerator. But if I divide on numerator, I have to divide in the denominator. Like we saw in this extra explanation example that we have right on the left side corner. So the fraction can be really the same, just a different way to rewrite the same fraction. 12 divided by 2, that is a 6. And 50 divided by 2, that's a 25. And I want to see if I can keep simplifying. The fraction I have is 6 over 25 now. Can I divide by 2 the numerator? Yes. But can I divide by 2 the denominator? No, I can't. So the 2 is not going to work. What about the 3? 6 divided by 3? Okay, we can do that because that's going to be equal to. But can I divide 25 by 3? No, that doesn't work. What about by 4? No. By 5? No. By 6? 6 divided by 6 will be 1. But I cannot divide 25 by 6 and get a whole number with no decimals. So this is the simplest form. So let me see if I can find this. This is given and this other one. So you see here we have 3 different representations for the same number. Okay, so A, they have a different fraction and the same percent. The percent works, but not the fraction. Let me check B. The fraction is not the same, and neither the percent. What about C? No, it's not my answer, and it's not. What about D? It's working, and we found our answer. Awesome job! Thank you!